Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Let's jump into our cosmic weather for today. Alright, starting off over at spaceweather.com as we usually do. Our solar wind is at 304.2 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is at a 1. It got up as high as a 4 yesterday, and we could see that it can get up a high to a 4 again in the next 24 hours just because of the CME that hit the other day. So we should be feeling that effect within the next 24 hours as it shows. Alright, let's look at our corona holes here. It's kind of about the same. Maybe looks a little ragged. What's going on here? I don't know that they're really expanding anymore, but that's what's going on up there with the corona holes. Chance for M-class flares, X-class flares, next to nothing. That's a good thing. Geomagnetic storm activity is pretty low as well. 25% is the highest you got. It'll be severe in the high latitudes. That's about it. And the only notice we have is the CME from the other day, which are going to be feeling. Alright, astrologically, we are over here. So we're just like yesterday, same as yesterday. Water sign, water as the element for the conscious mind because of Scorpio, and the unconscious mind is air. So water and air. Water and air. Just think of how water and air work together. There's certainly an example of water and air working together in the East Coast, on the East Coast, over the course of the last week. So we can see that water and air can mix together and can be quite extreme. Water is also about how things flow. How things flow, it's about emotions and feelings, things of this nature. So that's what's on the outside. Underneath, Gemini is trying to find a way to communicate all of this. And of course, the twins work overtime to try to process the emotions, but sometimes they don't always have the success because the emotions and the intellect, well, they're two different things. And Geminis, they're very intellectual. It's all about communication, words, actions. Whereas emotions are not an intellectual thing, they're an emotional thing. So sometimes those things don't mix, and that could be a little bit of confusion going on unconsciously as the process is working itself out. Then over the course of the weekend, you got a void of course moon on Saturday, and Sunday moves into Cancer, which will be a lot of feelings and things going on then. You know, right in time, I mean, it could be additional sadness coming off of the East Coast. Cancerian energy is really emotional. So between the emotional energy of Scorpio, which already is the tarot card of death and transition, and all the emotions that goes along with transitions, we go with that on the top of the conscious mind, and then the unconscious Cancerian energy, which is more emotions and feelings. There's a lot of heaviness going on right now, a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. Even though people aren't on the East Coast where this storm was felt, people are feeling it all around the world because we are all connected. Okay, then we have the moon phase, 80% of the way full, making its way down to the new moon again. And then last, the Mayan Oracle. We're at the theme of the Earth, which began yesterday, so we have 13 days according to the Earth theme. Today is a two-tone day. The kin for today is the mirror. Mirror is all about the reflection, endlessness. The guide for today above it is the dog, so today is the 2 is the lunar tone, so the lunar mirror, guided by the dog. You got the star, the dragon, and the knight are the supporting cast members around it. The phrase for today is I polarize in order to reflect stabilizing order. I seal the matrix of endlessness with the lunar tone of challenge. I am guided by the power of hearts. And take a look where we are here in the Zolkin. We're at the bottom here. So we're going to Saturday, Sunday, and on Monday when we join our reconnect here, will be up at the new column. Okay, and on the Gregorian calendar, as I've said, today is the 2nd day of November in the year 2012. All right. So as 2012 has been the theme, and we get closer and closer to this day, here's another piece I want to play for you. I was going to play for you the second part of the one I played yesterday. However, I cannot find a second part anywhere. I looked and I looked, and it's not to be found. So apparently the first one was just the first one, and the second one doesn't appear to be ready. So I found something else. Just checking this one out. This one's pretty good too. This one's called Mayan Calendar 2012, The Great Year Documentary. Now this is a long piece here. It's 48 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing right now. I'm going to play for you a portion of it, probably about 10 minutes worth, and leave the link available so you can check it out on your own. Alright, here we go.
Lost civilizations, the Golden Age, Shangri-La. Might there be some truth to these ancient tales? Our ancestors spoke of a grand cycle bringing about high ages of enlightenment and low ages of darkness, marked by the movement of the heavens.
The notion of individuals in their own place of worship being connected to some larger, either terrestrial or cosmic space, is not uncommon.
Mayan astronomy looked at huge cycles of movements of stars. They actually had an exact date in their calendar for the beginning of the world.
The evidence for these advanced civilizations is almost universal in the sense that they seem to be at their height very near the beginning.
Just as day and night are caused by the spinning earth, and the seasons are caused by the earth's orbit around the sun, some ancient cultures believed there's an even larger cycle that influences the rise and fall of civilizations. History and astronomy may help us rediscover this forgotten cycle, a cycle said to be so vast it reaches beyond our solar system, yet affects our everyday lives. Plato called it the Great Year.
Everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven.
Could it be that our sun is in a binary orbit, creating a 24,000-year cycle that affects the rise and fall of civilization? Many ancient cultures seemed to think so, and now some modern-day scientists agree. If true, there should be evidence of advanced civilizations older than the 5,000 or 6,000 years we find in most of today's textbooks.
Up until recently, archaeology placed the origins of what we would call civilization back about 3,000, 3,500 BC, with the rise of Sumer and Egypt and India, China as well. But over the last 4 or 5 decades, it's becoming clear that there was plenty going on before that.
Recent discoveries of complex structures near Hammacher, Syria, are estimated to date back almost 6,000 years. Still more startling, a team of Indian oceanographers has found the remains of a huge city submerged in the Gulf of Cambay. An astounding 10 square miles in size, the city has been carbon dated at 9,500 years old. And in Nabta Playa, Egypt, a circle of stones acts as a calendar star map that plots the exact points of stars and possibly their distances. Archaeologists believe the site might be as old as 10,000 BC.
Definitely, Indians were in North America at least 14,000 years ago. probably 15,000, 16,000 years ago.
Almost every week or month or so, they're finding some new bit of archaeological evidence that keeps pushing the clock back.
These discoveries confirm that complex societies all over the globe are older than previously thought. There's also evidence that ancient cultures on different continents communicated with each other. Is it just coincidence that the architecture from the Americas, the Middle East, and Asia share some striking similarities? Communication between civilizations on different continents is also suggested by their use of similar timekeeping systems. The Babylonians, Egyptians, and Yucatec Mayans all had comparable means of dividing the days, months, and years.
In Asia and in Mexico, there is a calendar system based on astronomy, which also is used to predict people's fate according to the planets and stars that were above at the moment of their birth. Each day of the month was named after something like rabbit or deer or flint. And there are a series of these names that are identical in Asia and in Mexico. Not just the names, but they follow the same series.
If you look at the so-called solar boat of Khufu, this is built unquestionably in 2500 BC, and that's a fabulous boat, 150 feet long with a sail on it. That's as good a ship as anything up to the clipper ships of the 19th century. And so it seems to me that with ships of that sort, pretty much anybody could go anywhere.
While the idea of transoceanic contact is still in debate, there is no question that some ancient cultures were more advanced in some ways than we are today. This is consistent with the cycle of the Great Year.
Much of Egyptology of the last century has been incredibly stubborn and almost deliberately designed to denigrate the achievements of the ancient Egyptian. Part of the blame for this lies, I'm afraid, with Darwin, whose theory of evolution as a linear and inevitable process going from primitive human beings to our own advanced selves, so that it became inadmissible to acknowledge that the ancient Egyptians actually knew more in many ways, certainly than the Greeks. The Greeks, in fact, acknowledged Egypt as the source of their wisdom, and doubly inadmissible to even suppose that the ancient Egyptians knew something that we don't. One of the things that the academics are very good at is denying that a mystery exists when it's quite clear that one exists. For example, the Great Pyramid of Giza, where constructed of 2.5 million blocks of stone, supposedly going up over the course of 30 years, which computes to 1 or 2 blocks are going into place every minute. And when you figure that the roof of the King's Chamber is built of 70-ton blocks of granite, this beggars the imagination. So engineers who look at this say, they laugh, because they say, in no way can you explain how these things got levered up ramps and into place in that period of time, or how they got put into place at all.
Many of the early temples, megaliths, pyramids, and obelisks are not only built to such fine tolerances that they did not require mortar, a feat that modern engineers are hard-pressed to explain, but many of them are aligned with celestial phenomena, or reflect sophisticated mathematical concepts, indicating that these ancient cultures had a larger cosmic awareness. According to author Graham Hancock, key temples in the ruins of Angkor in Cambodia are laid out to mimic the pattern of stars in the constellation Draco. Other researchers have demonstrated that the Sphinx of Giza in Egypt aligned with the constellation Leo as it appeared in the sky at that time. These two examples show the connection these cultures had with the heavens, a connection so strong that they integrated it into structures that have stood for thousands of years.
Some of the Maya buildings in the Maya cities, like Chichen Itza, whole buildings were constructed solely for the purpose of making astronomical observations. Certain sight lines were built in stone, so that on a certain day of the year, the sun would appear, or a star would appear exactly there on this day alone.
The Great Pyramid itself shows that the shafts of within the King's Chamber, and now subsequently discovered the Queen's Chamber, are sighted in such a way that at a certain period of time they open to the position of Sirius in the sky, and in the other case, I believe it is one of the belt stars of Orion. So you might say that the Egyptians are tuning the Great Pyramid to these stars, which play, in fact, a very important role within Egyptian symbolism and in Egyptian mythology.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today I have 5 stories. Okay, our first story comes to us. It says UFO hunter has footage given to him by retired military personnel. Jeffrey Gonzalez is one of such, the founder of Sanger Paranormal Society and a UFO chaser for the past 4 years. He even runs a 24-hour UFO hotline. People call and he investigates claims of UFO sightings. He works as a phone company technician during the day and solves mysteries of the unknown during his time off. He says his background in electronics helps him to use the tools to investigate the paranormal. I go out to the locations where these events happen. I talk to the witness. I take reference points and make sure it's real, he said. He drives a research vehicle or paranormal ambulance equipped with the requisite gear necessary to investigate UFOs, a Geiger counter, an EMF scanner, infrared cameras, and of course a Sony Handycam camcorder with night vision. So this is very interesting here. Let me play this clip here.
Retired military personnel right here. I'm calling it an unidentified flying object.
Jeffrey Gonzalez has been chasing UFOs for over 4 years.
I'm not crazy.
Jeffrey is the founder of Sanger Paranormal Society.
It's an obsession, it's a hobby.
And he has a 24-hour UFO hotline number.
There's just some type of radiation activity there.
He investigates claims of UFO sightings.
Witnesses calling me, and they all law enforcement, doctors, lawyers, military personnel.
Jeffrey believes that Central California, particularly the city of Fresno, is a UFO hotspot.
Notice there's a light on top.
Fresno lies at the bottom of the Nevada Triangle, a region that includes Area 51 and China Lake. Jeffrey says it's similar to the Bermuda Triangle, where many planes have disappeared without a trace over the last 50 years.
When you have a lot of military presence, you also have what could be possibly a lot of top secret military crafts flying over our skies.
According to the nonprofit National UFO Reporting Center, there are roughly 5,000 UFO sightings reported each year. And Jeffrey says he can't do this alone. He has several people throughout the city who serve as a sky watcher. These are people who sit outside for hours watching the sky for anything out of the ordinary. Robert Dorson loves capturing UFO footage from his roof.
I got the best footage. I got the closest and the best. All hours of the night and day, all hours. I'm out here, usually out here watching.
And for Jeffrey, he will keep investigating the abnormal.
Passion of mine to find out, what are these things flying over Fresno? Are they military or are they something else?
Are you a believer or still a skeptic? Start watching the sky and maybe you might notice something unusual. In Fresno, California, Michelle Macaluso, Fox News.
Okay, so from there, our next story takes us over to Melbourne, Australia. Now, there's a lot of sightings that happen in Australia, and we always get these good night vision sightings from out there. This is another one of those. All right. couple-minute long video showing what's going on. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so where are we at here? There we go. Okay, it's right, going right across the middle here. You can see it. It's very faint. When you enlarge the screen, there's a second one right down here, and there's one that just took off from here. Back it up again. I don't know if you can see that, but it's going across. It's going to come across here, and then it's just going to shoot upwards really quick. There's the one. There's one going up right here. Here's one. This other one that shoots up. I think I saw it from right around here. So definitely check this one out. Make sure you enlarge the screen. You'll be able to see a lot better. Alright, so there's some definitely good shots there over Australia. Now we go over here. This is San Antonio, Texas on the 30th. And what we have here is, as I was sky watching, I noticed a large red glowing object that seemed to be traveling in high altitude. The object was huge and did not seem to be an aircraft. When zooming in, the unknown red object could be observed. The object was clearly no aircraft, as you can see from the video stills. It seems to be creating some kind of energy. It did not seem to reflect. Alright, so there we go. And we've seen these before. What do you think that is? It's obviously it's not the shape of the craft. It's giving off some sort of signature, heat signature, energy signature of some sort. Certainly enough that it looks colorful. So we know it's the signature of some nature is giving off color. Is that just light, or is that energy? Is it a combination of things? Yeah, it's very interesting. Alright, and we certainly see all different types of these kind of crafts. So which ones are ones here from this world, and which ones are off the world? That's the question, right? Alright. From there we have over Oregon. This was from the other day. It says spectacular UFO over Oregon. We'll find out how spectacular this is. Alright. There we go. We got one of the blinking ones. Now this one looks like it's all part of one object. At least that's my guess. But these are all like the edge lights along, along the strip along the middle, the edge part of it. Just the way that they're moving, I would say that it's all part of the same. Because when it moves, they all seem to move together. Or if they're not moving together, they're very, very well synchronized. Alright, I don't think it does anything more. We got night vision here, see a little bit better. Now there you can see it is different ones in this shot. Alright, we got several things going on up there. Alright, what's this here? Alright, so very interesting footage over Oregon. And yeah, two different cameras going on there. So check this video out. It's good stuff. And our very last one, this is Australia on the 2nd. Did we just see this one? I might have just played this one. Maybe I'm losing my mind here and just repeating stories. Okay. What do we got here? Now this one's different. This is another one. Okay, we've seen this type before. This is more like the, not quite fully cylindrical, but alright. That's our last one. That's from the 2nd over Australia. So there you go. That's our UFO news for today. I'll be right back.
What if our government
responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, Big Brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
Okie doke. We're back. All right, continuing on with, let's see here, Obama. So I don't want to say our buddy, but the Donald is out there, and remember the Donald, he gave an ultimatum to Obama. It wasn't really an ultimatum, but it kind of was an ultimatum. It was release your records, and if he did, he was going to give him $5 million. So we all saw Obama just jump through hoops to make sure that his records were released, right? No? That's not right? No? He didn't jump... Oh, they're telling me no. I'm not right? He didn't release... Apparently he didn't release the records. Okay, so this is Trump who's going to go on and he's going to explain the situation. What's next? I'm breathless with anticipation. How about you? Let's hear what he has to say.
Very sadly for the country, for a charity, and for the president himself, President Obama has just missed the deadline, and now a charity of his choice will not be receiving $5 million, or, as I stated, potentially much more than $5 million. All the president had to do is give simple documentation, simple paper, a few pages, and a charity would have gotten $5 million or substantially more than $5 million. Whether it was Wounded Warriors, whether it was American Cancer Society, whether it was even the relatives of the victims of Benghazi, which I think would be an appropriate situation, the president decided that he wouldn't be doing it. In fact, just the opposite. He spent millions of dollars in legal fees to keep his records secret. There's a total lack of transparency. Someday, those papers will come out, and people will say, you know what? Donald Trump was right. This is a very, very sad day for the United States of America.
All right, there you go. That was it. That was the big announcement. Donald, I'm going to give you another thumbs down on that, brother. What was that? I was expecting that you were going to say, okay, you didn't meet the deadline. I've got the papers. And you were going to then come out with the dirt on Obama. I was expecting you would do that. But you didn't. Obama, now the people that didn't get the money, that didn't have in the first place, aren't going to get it? This is it? Come on. Oh, well. I guess I thought there would be a little bit more. Really let down, Donald. I was expecting so much more. Okay, that was a joke. Sarcasm, folks. Sarcasm. Really didn't think that there was going to be a lot coming out of that one. Because we all know how the Donald seems to work. Money talks. All right. This is more Ben Obama. See, I almost said Osama instead of Obama. A lot of people make that mistake. Do you notice out there how they've tried to trick people? So they, in some cases, they spell now Osama O-S-U, so that it's like different than Obama. So it's, you know, who do they think they're fooling? I guess the people who watch those shows, and people get fooled. I know. It surprises me still in 2012 that people get fooled, but they do. All right, this comes from Larry Klayman, founder and chairman of the Freedom Watch. Today announced that President Barack Obama and Vice President Joseph Biden have been criminally indicted for having willfully released classified national security information concerning the raid on Osama bin Laden's compound, U.S. and Israeli war plans concerning Iran and their cyber attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. The release of this information, amongst other harm to U.S. national security, resulted in the killing of members of SEAL Team 6 by terrorists and the arrest and imprisonment of American covert agents by Pakistan, such as a doctor who aided the CIA with regard to the bin Laden assassination. U.S.-Israeli war plans with Iran have also been compromised. A true bill of indictment was issued by a citizens grand jury in Ocala, Florida, who reviewed the evidence and voted unanimously to indict Obama and Biden at 6:02 p.m. on October 29th. Citizens Grand Jury. The authority for Citizens Grand Jury can be found, and here is the information. So it says now the defendants will be given a notice of their indictment, arraigned, and then tried for alleged crimes. I wonder if this will have more success than the Donald had. You know, you remember it was in 2010, and Pastor James David Manning, he did a trial for Obama, the Obama treason trial. We even had Pastor Manning on the show, and we had a great interview, and he talked all about the trial and what was going on. And even after all of the evidence that they brought forward to really show without a shadow of a doubt, you know, that there was something illicit with the background, even though that they went and they challenged the school records and went up and got all of these indictments of guilt against Obama, nothing's come of it. Because no matter what goes on, the people that are around Obama, that when they finally get all of the information evidence, they don't care. None of them care. It's just a joke to all of them. And the joke on the people is that the people actually keep trying to do something. I mean, you got to keep trying, right? You don't want to just keep letting the bad guys go away or get away with it. Now, here's something that is kind of concerning, but it fits the mold. This says, "Hail Obama" chants were heard at the First Lady's rally. Yes, hail Obama. We haven't heard someone shout things like this in 70 years or so, and certainly not in this country. As Mike Saran reports from Daytona Beach, the group was at times restless. Well, let me just play this here and you can hear what he has to say.
I choose to use my creativity designing gorgeous interiors.
I choose to mix a hit record.
What we got here is I'm just letting it get past the commercial part here.
And the president's wife campaigning today for him in Central Florida. And Fox 35's Mike Simon. He's live out there between Cookman University and Daytona Beach. Mike, what did Mrs. Obama have to say today?
Well, good evening, Bob. She's on a whirlwind tour across Florida, making 3 stops up and down the coast today, and she's saying many of the same things that you're hearing on the campaign trail, but with her own special flair.
Are we fired up and ready to go?
Speaking to a giant and enthusiastic crowd of 5,000 people, Michelle Obama made re-electing the president personal.
In his life story, I saw so much of my own.
While the First Lady is usually above the fray of day-to-day politics, she did jab just a bit without saying the name of her husband's opponent.
We believe in keeping our priorities straight. We all know good and well that cutting Sesame Street is no way to balance our budget. We know better than that.
The First Lady closed the speech by reminding people that it's not too late to get out and help the re-election effort. Now, this was a very large crowd and a little bit restless at times because they had to wait so long, but by far the most boisterous crowd I've seen in this election cycle on the Democratic side. Even at a few points, I heard some chants of "Hail Obama." In Daytona Beach, Mike Simon, Fox 35 News.
That should be a little bit concerning to you. Hail Obama. Now, I've been talking about this for some time and others have been talking about it, but there is evidence out there, there is information that suggests that Obama might not be a good guy. That on the outside he appears to be one thing, but on the inside there's other things going on. There are words and references that suggest he might be the Antichrist. He might be one of these dark spirits, or he might be simply here at a time when the Antichrist energy is around. We certainly see that the administration, the government, is very Antichrist-like and very dark. Now we hear the chants of "Hail Obama." Those chants are being heard. Well, in Nazi Germany, we all know about the chants that went on there. And how many years in this country have people warned about the potential dictatorship that would be coming to this country? How many times have you heard people say, "Oh, this will never happen in my country, not during my lifetime"? And guess what? For all those people who said that, you were wrong. You were wrong. It's happening, and you're missing it right in front of your very eyes. So now it's time to accept the fact that you were wrong. Nobody's going to be angry at you for that. And get on the page with understanding that there is a situation in this country that needs to be addressed. It's not going to be resolved by putting a Republican in the office because Romney's no better. It's not going to be resolved by putting Obama back in the office because that's no better. It's only going to be resolved when the people of this country realize that, first of all, you have no say in who's going to go into power. The United States of America is not run by the United States of America. It's run by organizations outside, the Board of Directors, Federal Reserve, IMF. Rothschild family has a hand in everything. There's leaders and rulers and administrators outside of this country that you've never even heard of that are dictating what goes on here. And yet you still believe, because the media tells you that the political events actually are, you actually can make a difference. You're not going to make a difference. They've decided. Do you hear what they say? That the popular vote and the electoral vote can be completely different? Really? How could that be? Because the idea is you go with the popular vote, and the popular vote puts in the electors to go in and then take it to the next step. Well, it seems like it should be a natural progression. The popular vote leads to electoral vote, which leads to the person being in that the popular vote kind of initiated. But it's not like that, because the popular vote doesn't matter. It's just a game. It's just a game that the elites play so that all the slaves or all of the peasants can feel like they're involved in the process. The only way you're going to be involved in the process is stand up and understand how Congress and how the administration of this government and governments going back over and over have continued to sell out America more and more and more. So when there's chance of hail Obama, it's par for the course because it's been coming for a long time. What's going to happen? What are people going to do about this? Will there be a continued trend that people are going to start chanting this more and more and more? That's going to be the interesting thing to see. That's going to be interesting. And it's going to be interesting to see if the Hail Obama becomes a race issue. If that starts to come of it. Or if it's just a universal that all races join together in hailing Obama. I don't believe that he needs to be hailed. I believe there's evidence suggests he's the Antichrist. But that's just me. All right. Here's another Secret Service agent around Obama that is no longer alive. Secret Service agent suspected of having a romantic relationship with a Mexican woman is dead of an apparent suicide, law enforcement official told CNN Thursday. The source said Rafael Prieto, 48, was assigned to President Obama's protective detail. The Secret Service confirmed Thursday that Prieto's death last Saturday is currently being investigated by the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington, along with the Medical Examiner's Office. No official determination has been made. His access to Secret Service facilities has been suspended while authorities were looking into the apparently unreported and long-term relationship with foreign national, the law enforcement official said. So, again, another anomaly that's happening. You know, there's a lot of dead individuals around Obama. You notice that? A lot of people get dead around Obama. Okay, this piece here is, it's called 30 Little Known Facts About America. It goes fast. I'm going to play it through and read some of them. It says, if the IRS is not a government agency, it is an agency of the IMF. And we got the code right there. This was from a case. The IMF is an agency of the United Nations. The United States has not had a treasury since 1921. The U.S. Treasury is now the IMF. All of these here with documents to support and back them up. The United States does not have any employee because there is no longer a United States, no more reorganizations. After 200 years of bankruptcy, it is finally order. You can see this came from an executive order, 12803. I know you think that the United States is the United States, but it's not. It hasn't been for a long while. The FCC, CIA, FBI, NASA, and all of other alphabet gangs were never part of the U.S. government, even though the U.S. government held stock in these various agencies. Did you know that? Again, all of this backed up by legal references. Okay, here we go. Social Security numbers. Everybody has those, right? Social Security numbers are issued by the United Nations through the IMF. The application for Social Security number is SS5 form. The Department of the Treasury IMF issues the SS5, not the Social Security Administration. The new SS5 forms do not state who publishes them, while the old form states they are Department of the Treasury. It's because the United Nations runs things, that's why. Alright. There is no judicial courts in America and have not been since 1789. Judges do not enforce statutes and codes. Executive administrators enforce statutes and codes. This is because the structure of the United States is a different type of structure than most believe it is. There has not been any judges in America since 1989. They've just been administrators. According to GATT, you must have a social security number. New York City is defined as the federal regulations in the United Nations. Rudolph Giuliani stated on C-SPAN that New York City is the capital of the world. For once, he told the truth. So there you go, capital of the world because United Nations. Social Security is not insurance or a contract. There is no trust fund. Your Social Security check comes directly from the IMF, which is an agency of the United Nations. And the Social Security number, well, that's your slave number. If you own no property, slaves can't own property. Read carefully, hold on. It says you own no property because slaves can't own property. And we are all slaves. When we got that number, that was our slave number, took away our sovereign status. It says read carefully, delete your property. You think it is yours, you are listed as a tenant. Says the most powerful court in America is not the United States Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. King of England financially backed both sides of the Revolutionary War. You cannot use the U.S. Constitution to defend yourself because you are not party to the Constitution. America is a British colony. United States is a corporation, not a landmass, and it existed before the Revolutionary War, and the British troops did not leave until 1796. Britain is owned by the Vatican. It says the Pope can abolish any law in the United States. You know that? The 1040 form is a tribute paid to Britain. Is for tribute paid to Britain. The Pope claims to own the entire planet through the laws of conquest and discovery. The Pope has ordered the genocide and enslavement of millions of people. The Pope's laws are obligatory on everyone. We are slaves and own absolutely nothing, not even what we think are our children. There you go. It says military dictator George Washington divided up the states into districts. The people does not include you and me. Again, Baron versus Mayor. It is not the duty of the police to protect you. It is their job to protect the corporation and arrest code breakers. Got that? Now you understand. See, it's even backed up here. Everything in the United States is up for sale. Bridges, roads, water, schools, hospitals, prisons, airports, etc. Did anybody take the time to check? I didn't see what that last part was. Who bought Klamath Lake? I gotcha. Okay. We are our human capital. UN has financed the operations of the United States government for over 50 years and now owns every man, woman, child in America. The good news is we don't have to fulfill our fictitious obligations. We can discharge a fictitious obligation with another fictitious obligation. The documents listed in this video, plus hundreds more and numerous essays explaining what happened to this world, are available for free on disk. They're not secret, but are a matter of public record. There have been many more legal sightings, plus hundreds of documents to verify all the statements, numerous other facts. The disk will clean up any confusion and answer any questions you might have. The legal sightings in the video are just the top of the iceberg. So, and then it gets down here into talking about some words, and this is very important because simple words such as person, citizen, people, our, nation, crime, that the definitions are different. You know, what we think one definition isn't what we think it is. So there's a big illusion. It says illusion is much larger than what is cited in this video. And there is. It's an illusion of what things mean. So what you and I believe something mean isn't necessarily the way that the government sees it to be, by any means. Definitions are different in all cases. So it's very important. So with all of this, I mean, it's kind of important that Americans know what's going on, how your rights have been usurped from you a long time ago. Okay, and this last one here before I finish things up. This is 1 month till they regulate the internet. It says, better enjoy Facebook while you can. A UN-sponsored conference next month in Dubai will propose new regulations and restrictions for the internet, which critics say will censor free speech, level tariffs on e-commerce, and even force companies to clean up their e-waste and make gadgets that are better for the environment. Concerns about the closed-door event have sparked a WikiLeaks-style info-leaking site and led the State Department on Wednesday to file a series of new proposals or tranches seeking to ensure competition and commercial agreements and not regulation as the meeting's main message. Again, there is another piece of the evidence that the United Nations is more involved than people think that they are. Much more involved. So, all kind of, I don't know, depressing stuff in some ways. Look, we're 49 days away from December 21st, 2012. I believe that we have been experiencing a lot of subtle energies that are affecting us. I believe, and I've seen people that have been closed-minded change in their attitudes in these times. So I believe that there is definitely something important going on, and I believe it's going to continue to escalate. So even though there's all this nonsense going on that we're finding out about the government and all the restrictions, this isn't brand new. This is something that's been going on. It's been building to a head. It's been escalating as well. So eventually it's going to come to a crash, because what's happening is all these restrictions have been put on over the years, the regulations, and as people find out more and more about them, they don't like them. People don't like the regulations, and one thing I do know about Americans is Americans may be slow on figuring things out, but once they figure it out and they got it, they take action pretty quick, and to put something that's hurting them, back where it needs to go. And so that's what I'm hopeful of, that the change is going to come when the people have just sort of had enough. The question is, when are the people going to have enough? Well, hopefully pretty soon. And I think that within these next couple of weeks here, these next 49 days, 7 weeks, I think that we're going to see some more opportunities and more people stepping forward, stepping up, a little bit more belief in oneself. Especially, look what's going on now in the East Coast. It's, we have to think some positive thoughts for the people out there, and they're going through a whole lot. They had all the major storms. Now they got cold wind coming, winter. They're still without electricity. It's a shock to the system, I'm sure, to a lot of them who never expected that this would happen. And here they are, out there, and some of them probably from very affluent and wealthy neighborhoods. But, hey, there's no power. It affects everybody. And so maybe a situation like this will bring people closer together out there. These kind of events usually do. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is let me go ahead and I'm going to pull up one passage from the Keys of Enoch. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our meditation. So close your eyes, relax, and I'm opening the book to right here. Okay. Take a deep breath. Therefore, this is from Key 308. This is chapter 10. Therefore, Jesus tells us in Matthew 24:15 through 18. When you catch sight of the disgusting thing that causes desolation, as spoken of through Daniel the prophet standing in a holy place, let the reader use discernment. Then let those in Judea begin fleeing to the mountains. Let the man on the housetop not come down to take the goods out of the house, and let the man in the field not return to the house to pick up the outer garment. At that time the religionists of the world, who confuse the covenant of their religion with God's holy covenant, will mislead millions, so that they cannot participate in the covenant of the living God with their spirit. The collective Antichrist will sit in the temples of the world and will govern the covenants of the man and remove the constant feature, which is the Word of God proclaimed as the living Word. And in the appointed time, the holy mountain Sinai will be surrounded by the sons of Ammon, who gather from the east and the south, the displaced of Palestine. They will arouse among the nations a holy war based upon the abomination of the historic covenant, and will succeed in the activations of destruction. However, they are not the abomination of desolation, for the abomination of desolation is anything that deceives the priesthoods of the earth, and is not permitting the region of spiritual wisdom to reveal God's kingdom beyond the earth. Let's take a moment to contemplate that passage, to understand the synchronicity of how what was there, written so long ago, applies to what is going on in the world right now. So if all information as such has been known, that would certainly give support to a divine plan. And part of the divine plan has the solution built in. So though there are problems going on now, inside each and every one of us is a solution to the problem at hand. The solution is love, cooperation, as we work together and as we come together in the spirit of love and in the spirit of cooperation, we find that we are all one and the same. We all want to have peace. We all want to be happy. We all want to have abundance in our lives. All of these things have been promised to us from the Creator, are available from the Creator. And though the ways of the world try to stop the Creator's gifts from getting to each and every individual, the power of Creator cannot be overcome. And so therefore, as we go inside, we find that place that allows us to overcome the challenges and the problems. Imagine seeing a treasure chest, and you open that treasure chest and there it is. The thing you've been looking for. But it is not a physical object. It is an essence that as you breathe that essence into your spirit, it reminds you of all that you already need to know. It reminds you that change happens all the time, and that our purpose is to flow with the change, to participate in the change, and to evolve with the change. This is a time of evolution, so imagine as you open that chest and all that energy absorbs into you, imagine wings appearing on your back, and you can fly. You're able to fly free, filled with this new power. And in this freedom, through the process of flight, you realize We are all free by simply allowing the energy in ourselves to be released. And when we all stand up, the challenges, the problems, they begin to fall away because they cannot. They cannot oppose all those who stand in truth, all those who stand in love, all those who stand in liberty. Take a deep breath. Hold that idea of liberty in your mind's eye. Let's bring ourselves back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. There you go. So, you know, what's interesting about the Keys of Enoch is you go through, and it's one of these books that you just go through, pick a passage, and it applies. I mean, look, I was talking about the Antichrist. Open a chapter in there, point to it. I mean, it's a big book. And the chapter happens to talk about the Antichrist, about what's going on in the corporations running things, and so on. So, if you get a chance, check out the Keys of Enoch. You know, go find yourself a copy of that. And what else? What else? Let's just think good thoughts for the people on the East Coast. They're all going through a lot of challenges, so let's just send them positive thoughts. Let's send them a lot of hope and healing energy, and just send them a lot of love, because weekends coming, people are probably going to be cold and hungry and tired, and when things happen like that, there's a lot of tensions that can happen. Not only that, but we're going into a doubly water weekend. We got the water of Scorpio, and then we've got the water of, or the air of Gemini. So it's not a double water. It's, you know, a lot of processing coming up. The water will be on Sunday, and then of course next week being the election week, that's going to be a crazy time. So let's keep our wits about us all with what's going on. Let's think good thoughts for those who are having challenges in the world, and just keep finding a way to get better and better every day. That's it. Have an awesome weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.